you a trailblazer?
I like to think I am.
When you had this concept, how'd it come up?
So back in April of 2020, there were several judges that were, reasonably tech savvy and willing to volunteer. And so we had been testing out new things for our statewide, court administration office. We all got a text message asking us if there was any way to test a virtual jury trial. And so, of course, everybody on the group text could come up with a bunch of different concerns or reasons why it couldn't work. But I thought of an alternative dispute resolution process we use called a summary jury trial, which doesn't result in a binding verdict. And so my suggestion was, let's test it out on one of those, because if it fails, it won't hurt anybody. And so between mid-April, when I got the request, and May 18th, when we actually completed it, I figured it out.
How does virtual put up some sort of a challenge for a jury to truly understand or maybe see some facial expressions or truly feel the evidence when it's all being done virtually?
Sure. So that was everyone's concern up front, right? How can you get that nonverbal communication? How can you judge someone's credibility when it's through a computer monitor? But what we found when we talked to the jurors afterwards who had actually served, several of our jurors on our first virtual jury trial in May had previously served in-person jury trials. And actually what they said was, in the physical courtroom, they could see the witnesses less well because they are seeing a sideways view of the witness because the jury box is off to the side of the witness in a typical courtroom setup, as well as they're, very far away, feet-wise from the witness. And so some of our jurors are older, wear glasses, and they remarked how they felt much more engaged with the witnesses because on Zoom they could see a face front view. They could see all of their facial expressions, as well as, for example, a video was played in evidence, and one of our jurors had said in his previous in-person trial there was a video which he wasn't really able to see at all during the trial and had no idea what was going on at the time it was played and just could review it later. Whereas he commented in the Zoom jury trial that the video evidence, he could really see everything right when it was being played in the middle of trial, and so he preferred it.
Does it save money?
I think it absolutely saves money. So let's talk about some of our most vulnerable Texans. Those are our folks who can't afford to hire lawyers, but they have very important cases, child custody cases, all kinds of cases that we want them there for, but they don't have the flexibility to get a day off work. They don't have a reliable transportation to drive to the courthouse. And so we end up making decisions about their children without them being able to be there. But on Zoom, everyone shows up. I have had dads who were long-haul truckers, and they showed up for their Zoom trial from the cab of their truck, pulled over at the side of the road. But you know what? I was glad they were there. So I think it has been a real boon to folks who were largely excluded from our in-person system. And so for that reason, I'm hoping that some of this stays around long-term.
Judge Heck clearly stated in the past you've seen 80% no-shows, but because of virtual and those trials that were being done through Zoom, you saw an 80% appearance rate, a complete reversal.
Absolutely. And in fact, several judges and I have been talking, our backlogs have appeared to increase during the pandemic, even though we are doing more trials than ever. And it's because people are showing up and wanting trials, which is a good thing, but that does lead to sort of a capacity traffic jam.
Did you ever think that this would lead to the achievement that you were honored with by the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court?
I mean, that's an amazing honor, and I never had any idea that the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court would have an inkling of who I was. So no, I had no idea.
Yeah.